Hey, everybody. It is Dr. Stacey here with Stacey and Kecia, two of my amazing colleagues. I am going to let them introduce themselves. And y'all, we're going to do a part two of talking about stress and the impact of stress on our lives. So, Stacey, why don't you kick us off?
Well, hey everybody, it's your girl Stacey B. Brown, and I have specialized in helping leaders to increase their clarity and their impact to the communities that they serve, all while operating from their overflow and not functioning in their fumes. And glad to be with you all here today.
Yes, I love that every time you say it, functioning in the overflow and not, what's that? Give me that second part.
I said operating in their overflow, not
Uh,
functioning from your
Not
fumes.
functioning from the fumes, that piece. Yeah, we're going to talk about some fumes. But let's go to Miss Keisha. Go ahead, Miss Keisha.
All right. Hello, world. How is everybody doing today? And guess what? I'm really at a restaurant, so I hope I don't get too loud. Like, I had to squeeze this in. But anyway, who am I? I am Nurse Kecia, and I am actually a community nurse. It's really how I see myself. I'm not remembering what my I recognize statement off is at the top of my head. So I'm just going to tell you I'm a sister, mother, a wife, a daughter, a nurse, a God girl, and I love all of those responsibilities. And I'm here to help my community learn how to live healthy and be well. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. So y'all know how we do over here on the Dr. CC said side. If you are with us live, drop hey, hi, hello, what it do in the chat. If you are visiting us for the replay, drop hashtag replay in the chat. And ladies, speak to you all's audience as well, because we know they're
Okay.
gonna see this as well.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Drop a hey, good people for my crowd.
And for my crowd, I want you to drop a hey, I'm a moving star and I'm here to listen.
I love it. I love it. So y'all, you saw the title. Let's talk about stress part two. Because last week, I think it was the 13th. 13th, we discussed stress and the impact of stress. And so, y'all, we want to just dive a little bit deeper tonight. Okay. The first part, though, that we want to talk about is how stress is showing up in our own lives right now and what that looks like. Because not only do we help people who might be impacted by stress in our various ways, we also experience our own stress. And we have had to do some work to make sure that it is not keeping us from being happy, healthy, and whole. All right. So, ladies, our first question: what is stress looking like for you these days? And how are you managing it? Whoever want to
Well,
start, go ahead.
okay.
Hmm.
So, stress is, let's say it's really dressed up right now. It like got on the suit, it put on a hat, baby got on makeup,
Mm.
it got her heels on. Let me tell you, I mean, she got some. And the thing about it is, she even have to change her wigs every now and again because some days it just be like that.
Oh my.
So she just showing up. She is showing up. And I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. She is showing up and she is showing out. Let me tell you. So for me, I don't know. Stress is just colorful.
Mm.
It's um, rhythmic. Sometimes it's offbeat. It's I don't know. It just is right.
Mm,
Yeah. It's just really this season of my life. Um, the stress is really destructive.
Mm.
mm, mm, mm. Miss Keisha, as you were saying about, dressed up, got on a suit, got on heels, all of that. What I was picturing was stress was standing on business, right? And showed up to work and do what stress is supposed to do, right? And so it sounds to me like stress is very present. at the moment.
Mm.
Very present.
Yeah.
Very, very present.
Yeah. So what you doing about it?
Whew. Okay. First and foremost, I'm allowing myself to recognize that it's there, right? Because there was a time in my life where I didn't, and I would just keep moving past it,
Yeah.
not recognizing it, not acknowledging it, not anything, because what you don't acknowledge, you can't change,
That's right.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's number one. I'm acknowledging that it's there. Two, I'm taking time to actually write down what that stress is and what the stressor is that's causing the stress,
Mm.
right? And now I have recognized that. And like I stated the last time, I'm noticing a pattern that keeps coming around, right? But this time, because I've noticed the pattern, I now know what to do, which is again, pay attention, write it down, talk about it, because um, in my house when we grew up, what goes on in my house, stay in my house,
Hmm.
Mm.
right? And so now I'm learning to talk about it, and I talk about it to the right people because everybody, even when you share it, people mean well. They really do. People mean well, right?
Right.
And so even when you share it, I want to make sure I'm sharing it with the right people at the right
Yeah.
time, right? So I'm being very discerning and vulnerable at the same time.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a
Yeah.
dance, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm dealing with it right now. Just being aware, feeling it, blessing it, let it move on, write it down, and not getting community.
I love it. I love it. So we got to be aware. Then we need to process it. Sounds like we're saying. And
Mm-hmm.
then with community, we can then try to push it to where it needs to be.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. Miss Stacey, what about you? What is life looking like right now?
So stress for me looks like it's really a mixed bag. So we have a lot of good stresses in that it's transition, it's opportunities and open doors. But with that opportunities and opens doors, it's the stress of the unknown and a lot of unsureness. It's, just to be frank, a lot of big things that are happening right now. So my oldest just graduated from high school and is set to go off to the Air Force, um, celebrating the first year of completing my 40s, which y'all been gatekeeping. Y'all didn't tell me because everybody talk about the 30s. Don't nobody talk about the 40s. The 40s is wonderful. It's wonderful. And then, there's the transition of, going back into, well, I won't say going back in because right now I'm in entrepreneurship and have been so for almost the past year or so again. And it's just a different type of thing when you're having all these wonderful and open opportunities, but with that open opportunities comes, I guess, the vastness of it is
Mm.
scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. So sometimes you want to go back to what is familiar,
Hmm.
but going back to what is familiar, you realize that you no longer fit that. It's like a crab trying to go back into a shell it outgrew. It just can't. It just,
Yeah.
as much as
There's
it
no
tries to
space for
fit into there, right? There's no space. There's no space without editing yourself
it.
or
Hmm.
contorting yourself, which
Hmm.
which hurts. And I don't want to do that anymore. That's a whole different type of stress. So I would rather have the stress of the vastness and being like, okay, God, let me hold your hand as I go into this new thing rather than becoming something that I no longer, or going back to something that I no longer am to try to make myself feel more comfortable. I guess
Mm,
that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. So you're identifying it, and I love that you said that it's some of it is positive stress, right? Like
Yes.
it's coming about because of positive things. So we talk about growth, we're talking about movement. So all of those things are great, and they still come with some stress, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of where I find myself right now. Things are changing, things are growing, things are expanding. And so there are things to do. We got a lot of things to do. And so I am one who likes to be organized and have lists. And, I want to check stuff off. And, I wanted to go the way it's supposed to go the first time so I could check it off and we can move on. Right. And yeah, y'all, life don't work like that. Okay. That's not what life looks like. Right.
Sure.
Life is in the gray. We live, one of my colleagues always says we live in the gray. Life is in the gray. It's not in that very black or that very white.
Mhm.
And so recently, y'all know, and for a lot of people that's watching us, y'all know that I just did my fourth Free Before 40 Women's Conference. Yeah. Yes.
Yay.
Yeah. And yeah, look, it was everything. Okay. It was all the things. And the stress of getting to that place. And the stress of me fighting and kicking against what God had because I had a certain vision in my head. Right.
Right.
And so thank God I was able to let that go before we got to the day so I could be present and get all that God had for me and give all that God had for me to give. But sometimes y'all we the source of the stress,
Exactly.
right? It's just the truth. Sometimes we the source of the stress, right? And so I know I had at least about 2 good weeks where I probably released a whole bunch of cortisol. And Miss Keisha, you can help me right talk about how that happened. But I probably released a whole bunch of cortisol for about a good 2 weeks, waking up every morning like, God, we ain't quite there yet. What we doing? Where you at? I know you said it. What? Come on, show me, right? And he telling me, be easy. I got this, right? I didn't ask you to do anything extra. I asked you to trust me.
Mm.
And so that is how I have been dealing with my stress. The good, look good, bad, and indifferent is by going back to the word, going back to what he told me. And in psychology, we would say challenging negative thoughts.
Mhm.
Right? Like, where's the evidence, right, to support or to challenge this? And so I've been challenging these thoughts with the word. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we have
Right?
to
Yeah.
counter that thinking because really and truly, if we let that negative thought take root, then
Mhm.
what becomes one thought goes into rumination.
Ooh.
And now we're just thinking constantly about all this thing. And then, that little seed turns into a plant, which turns into flowers and pollinates. And
Right.
then it becomes all these other worries and these other
It's
things.
growing
Next
all
thing
over
we
the place.
know, right, we find ourselves in a, wild garden of worry
Yeah.
and anxiety when really and truly, if we stop the thought from germinating and challenge it, like you said, with facts, with the word, and really base it, get to know it as Miss Keisha said, like allow ourselves to feel it, acknowledge the feeling, but
Mhm.
understand that feelings are fleeting and emotions are evasive. If you give yourself about a minute and a half, at the most 3 minutes, that emotion is going to pass.
Yeah.
But then it becomes the hard work of getting to the root cause. Where did that even come from? For me, this week, like I said, was good transition. I attended the National Urban League Conference, and it was just so great to be around a whole bunch of like-minded people. But
Yeah.
also with that, you're around these brilliant, brilliant folks, and sometimes that seed of imposter syndrome or that comparison sneaks in and you're like, what am I even doing here with all these? And then you have to, let me stop it, because I'm not about to sit here all stressed out not listening to this
Mhm.
information that I need to
Yep.
bring back to my community, because I'm too
Yep.
busy comparing instead of understanding that this I am not that person because God created me for the situation, the state, the city, the town, the, family, the whatever. He created me for that particular situation. And so for me to try to compare myself to someone else who is a completely different environment, completely different stage in life, completely different background, completely different reason and purpose for being, although our interests and passions are similar, they are not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that part about not paying attention, right? Because you're in your head. And
Mm-hmm.
y'all, that comes up so much. And Miss Keisha, I know you can help us with this. Thinking about just like the physical reasons why some of those things happen. But yeah, when we stress, the lens with which we're looking through is not always accurate or helpful, right?
Absolutely.
And so, like we can be in a place where people are trying to pour into us and people are trying to support us, and we can't even receive that because
Absolutely.
physically we are there, but mentally we somewhere else.
Them cognitive distortions be really distorting now.
Okay. Maybe, and you see or you hone in on the stuff that kind of confirms your bias, right? So like, everything bad stuff ain't gonna go well, and you see evidence for that, and you're like, see, I told you, look at this, look at that. And we discard all of the positive things. God said he'd never leave us nor forsake us. He got us out of it last time. Why wouldn't he do it this time?
And
He sent
did.
folks to see about us. He sent people to impart a word to it, but we miss that piece and we focus in on the negativity. And I think this goes to our next question. I think for me, that is one of the biggest signs that I'm stressed. When it's hard for me to see the positive,
Mhm.
or the negative just seems like real loud. Oh, I must be stressed. Right, there must be some stress happening. And so I see we got some folks in the room with us that's watching. Again, if you all just coming in, drop in the chat, hey,
Oh,
hello, hi, what it do, so we know that you all are here. And I would love for you all to participate with us too. Let us know, what does stress look like for you right now? Are you in a season of ease? Because amen to that, if you are. Right? And if you are not, if you feeling a little stressed right now, let us know about it. Y'all can drop that in the chat. Yeah. So Miss Keisha, help us out here with this whole like being present and not being able to be present, not being able to focus when we have a lot of stress. What is going on for us usually physically with that?
Well, again, it, like you mentioned, the cortisol, and it affects our blood pressure, right? It
Mhm.
makes us foggy.
Mm,
Things are not clear,
yeah.
mm,
right? It's almost like, you know how when you have on a pair of glasses and you come in out the heat into a
Hmm.
cold place and you get that fog?
mm-hmm.
That's kind of what it's like.
Mm,
And you have to
mm,
take a moment, take the glasses off, clean the lens,
yeah.
and then put them back on and say, oh, that's what that looked like, right?
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one way. And then another thing, sometimes some people sweat, they just hyperventilate when they're over stressful. They perspire like a lot.
Mhm.
Some people can't move,
Mm,
literally. I remember a time when my sister was alive and we were going to see a lawyer, and their office is usually at the top floor, right, like in the penthouse. So we was like on the 35th, 37th floor, and in his office he had these big old windows, right? It's like windows from ceiling to floor. So we went through the meeting, we answered all the questions, and I kept looking over at her, right? Because she kept looking at the window, and she was looking at me, and she was looking at them, and she looking at the window. And I was thinking to myself, oh boy, she's getting ready to um, have some sort of anxiety attack because she used to
Mhm.
really be challenged with that, right?
Okay.
And so she kept looking at the window. She kept looking at me. She kept looking at them. And then as the meetings started to close out, I could tell the sweat beads was just rolling down her face. So she stood up. She grabbed me by my hand, and she didn't say anything. I knew what that meant, right? Just hold on to me. Don't let me go. So we walked out of the office, stood in front of the elevator. She literally took her back and she hit the wall because she needed to feel something under her feet and something in her back.
To
She
feel
needed to know she
grounded.
was stable.
Feel grounded.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so when the elevator doors opened, it was like, okay, everybody, let's get on. She could not move.
Mm.
Mm,
She was stuck. We was up there for almost 2 hours.
wow.
And so finally, when we got close to the second hour, she stayed against the wall and she slid down to the floor. And she just sat there and she sobbed and she sobbed.
Mm.
And guess what? As a sister, I sat there with her and I held her until she was ready to get up and walk. Right?
Mhm.
So literally, stress, ladies and gentlemen, some of it is good, but when it gets to that point, we really, really have to take time to do something about it because if we don't, it can literally kill you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
I love how you
So
held
yeah.
space for her.
Yeah. 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 And Miss Keisha,
And
that oh, go
oh, and
ahead.
I was just gonna add this too. And so what I notice is as we're talking about stress and where we are today, when you're in the stress, those experiences come up again. You know what I mean? It's like not necessarily me being afraid of height, but me remembering her experience.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Kind of going back to that place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so what I have to do is when I recognize it, I have to make sure, like I said before, I'm aware of what's happening. I'm
Mhm.
paying attention to the pattern, and then I do something to get myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So yeah, stress will take you out of here if you don't take care of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, it's like your sister had to get something on her back and get something on the floor. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's more of the mental spin.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start just going, and it literally is 1,000 miles per hour thoughts to where I cannot hear a clear thing. You remember the Wizard of Oz where she's in the tornado and just everything is just
Yeah.
spinning around
Mhm.
and she can't focus on things, and like one thing will be familiar and then it'll come around and then like a random thing like a cow will come across, just don't even make sense to the situation. That's what I do. I call it spinning, to where mentally it just goes around and around, and so for me it's grounding in gratitude. When I'm seeing that, and normally I know it's triggered by a series of things going wrong, and I
Mhm.
have to literally sometimes just stop, physically stop, clap, and remind myself, okay, you know what, we're grounded in ourselves, we are safe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am safe. And sometimes I have to repeat it to myself because my mind doesn't understand that what's going on around it with everything that's going on within it. And I have to repeat, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And then start to, talk about the gratitude. Yes, this situation went wrong, but I'm healthy.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a minor setback. For instance, when I was going to the conference, I'm already running late because my son had forgotten his towel for swim day. And so I had to go all the way back to the house, all the way back to camp. And then I got some bad news in the mail. And then, just I got off the schedule. And then the check engine light comes on my brand new purchase car. And I was
No,
like,
ma'am.
I had to stop. I had to literally stop. you know what? I'm all right.
Mhm.
Worst comes to worst, I'll just have to bring it back to the dealership. I didn't get to the store that I wanted to get the little containers, but it's all right because I can pack it. I have everything I need. All I need to do is just refocus and get to the airport.
Mm,
Well, once I grounded myself, I realized, you know what? The dealership is right by the airport. So I can just stop and drop the car off at the
mhm,
dealership and take an Uber to the airport. Well, after I grounded myself and really called them and let they arranged for a private car to take me to the airport. But
yeah.
had I not grounded and stopped and been solutions focused rather than problem, just having the problems cloud
Mhm,
my vision, like Miss Keisha said, just the fog of all those
mhm.
problems get in my face. I probably would have gotten to the point where I just probably would have slid, did a wall slide like your sister did in the room, and probably would have missed my whole doggone flight.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, understanding what it is, having that awareness of what I need to do to counter this, and then moving forward with that solution. Like, okay. And so for some people, it's just needing to breathe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that part about the problem solving, right? Because what we want to do is be able to move forward. So, Miss Keisha, you said something about being stuck. She was stuck. Your sister was stuck in that moment. And she was stuck physically, but also mentally and emotionally, right? She was stuck. And what I heard on the inside was a lot of times, y'all, we be spiritually stuck when we go through this stuff over time, right? And so, Ms.
Absolutely.
Keisha, I know you talk a lot about chronic stress and what happens when it's stress on top of stress on top of stress, and we experience it across time. Y'all, that gets us all sorts of stuff, right? They again, physically, mentally, emotionally, and also spiritually because we
And
don't know
spiritually,
what to do
yes.
next, right? We don't know which way to go. We know God loves us,
Right.
but we're not talking to him right now because we too in our head, right? We too sometimes too in our bodies, right? Like we feeling it and we
Mm-hmm.
can't get out of it. And so I think that's where community comes in a lot of times because sometimes people looking outside in can remind us of some things. So I love the grounding in gratitude, right? Sometimes I need to hear other folks say, right, like, girl, you know God got you. You know
Mm-hmm.
God. You remember in 2007 when you lost your mom, God still had you. You remember in 2009 when you lost your daddy, God still had you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes we need community to do that because we can't do it for ourselves. And then, like you
Absolutely.
said, Stacey, then we can problem solve. We can. What's the next step, right? What I need to do. So that was perfect.
Right.
The car dealership right there next to the airport. Look, you gonna make this flight.
Or
You got
amen and
to,
glory to God.
yeah,
Whether
you
you
got
was
to go
running
get
to
this
the gate or
information.
not.
Yeah,
But
you
yes,
gonna make this flight.
it's really taking, like you said, putting things into perspective, because we talked about it, alluded to it earlier about the cognitive distortion, where we don't see things straight, where we see it as an all or nothing. If one thing goes wrong, then everything is wrong, or we're just simply black and white, we're not operating in the gray, or it's just many things, and how we are sidetracked or really take on extra stress by simply our perspective of things, right? And think about being at a concert where there's a pole in front of you. Now you could sit there and fixate at the pole being in front of you, or you can move so you could see it. Yes, there is something obstructing your vision, but only if you let it.
Ooh, am I? Listen, you preaching. I don't even know if you know
That's
you preaching
good.
right now. Okay, listen, because what I heard was pivot.
Mm-hmm.
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 Like you have to pivot
Right.
sometimes. Yeah, there's
That good
power.
lean, that
Yeah,
good
look right,
leaning not to your
right.
own understanding.
Come on, come on, y'all. There is power in the pivot.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Listen. there is, and what I think the reason why the pivot can be such a blessing is because God knows the whole picture, right? He has that bird's eye view. He knows all now from back then and in the future, right? And so when we pivot, when we allow ourselves to pivot, when we make that decision, Stacey, to lean right to the right or to the left, we are saying, "Hey, I trust you. I don't know what's happening. I don't really know where you got me going. I don't even know if I was supposed to be able to do this because it's a little outside of the box. But I'm pivoting because I trust you." And I think he rewards right that type of faithfulness and trust. And
Absolutely,
so
absolutely,
yeah, go
absolutely.
ahead, Miss
Yeah.
Keisha.
No, I was just gonna say I really appreciate that when you shared about you know putting things in perspective, right?
Hmm.
And so I often think about when the stress is there. We may think, oh my God, okay, the car didn't stop, the light is on, the kid need a towel, I gotta get to the hotel, I ain't got no water, I probably left my wallet, I don't have no money, who's gonna meet me there, the plane gonna leave. I mean, your mind is just running.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so one question would be, okay, like you said, I'm safe, and what do I need next? Not what do I need way up there, but what do I need this
next
second?
step.
This
Hmm.
Because
Yeah,
all I can do is put one foot in front of the other, right?
listen, that's all it is. That is all it is.
and I think
We ain't
that's a
gonna
good
run like
question,
Forrest,
right?
right? We ain't gonna run like Forrest. You
Eventually,
know how Forrest be like,
eventually, but sometimes we just got to take one step, even
Right.
if that step is unsure and it's a stumble.
Yeah,
Just taking the step. So
yeah,
maybe that's a good question to pose to someone to put into the chat. What's your next step?
yeah,
What is the next step that you need to take in order to face this situation and to deal with the impending stress around you? What's the next step?
yeah,
absolutely, yeah. And if
absolutely.
I may add to that, ladies, I was also thinking as we were talking, I'm like, okay, yes, we have the stress, and yes, we have the stressors, and yes, our bodies get all contorted and we get all sweaty and out of sync. And sometimes we don't even make sense in our conversations, and we can't make a decision, and da 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 da. And so, again, asking ourselves, what do I need next? And then perhaps another question may be, what is this stress really trying to tell me?
Mm.
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, what is it that I need to pay attention to that I'm not paying
Yeah,
attention to?
yeah.
And why do I need to like brush it off and not, yeah, like, what is it saying to me? What is it communicating?
Ooh, that's good, Miss Keisha.
Mm,
That's good because that actually look, y'all keep segueing right on into the next question. I love it. I love it because my next question was about high achieving people, right? And y'all, we know a little bit about high achieving folks, right? Just a little bit, people, and for the folks watching now and will be catching the replay, when I say high achieving, I am talking about people who are functioning at a level where you are called upon all the time at work. You are doing multiple things. You might be like these three right here, myself included. You might be doing multiple assignments. We'll call them assignments, multiple assignments at the same time. Okay. People who, we're not going to say you're perfectionistic, but you like things a certain way. You like to have control over things because when you put your hands on stuff, that stuff does well, right? Let's be honest. It's the reason why we like to control stuff. It's a reason why we don't always like to work in groups, right? Because we know when we do it, it's going to be done right. And we're not the only ones like that. I'm sure a whole bunch of people that's watching now and watching later can agree they have had some of those experiences, right? So that's high achieving, right? We're doing a lot and we're doing well at a lot. Okay. What do we think high achieving people, how do we think high achieving people see stress? So going back to what Ms. Keisha said about what is the stress trying to tell us, we don't ever stop, or a lot of times we don't stop to think, wait, what's the stress saying? Or where is the stress coming from? Or Miss Keisha, like you said, what is the stressor, right? Because we're doing so much, we're moving so quickly, and we got to get stuff done. We got to check that list off. We're not paying attention to those things. So, how does that piece kind of go with this high achieving?
I will say for me, um, that I definitely had to understand that perfectionism is a trap, but also from a spiritual perspective, it's bondage, because while I may do things well, they're never going to be perfect, and that distortion of requiring perfectionism really is procrastination. And if I'm dealing with something that God has called me to do, that procrastination really is akin to disobedience, because delayed obedience is still disobedience. So
Mm,
I have to
yeah,
understand
love
that
that. Oh,
sometimes, oh yeah,
okay,
trust me, I'm just sharing what beat me up first.
got it.
And this is where understanding that if it is for me to do for God, it will turn out well regardless.
Mm,
But I also understand that sometimes God does give me the gift of failure
mm,
so I can reassess. And so I can be grateful when things do go well. Because I mean, if things are always going well, then sometimes we get complacent um, in appreciating the blessing of success. And I believe that with high achieving, especially being high achieving Black women,
mm,
because we subscribe to some of these stereotypes or these things that society has made us believe, that we have to be twice as good to get half as much, that we have to look a certain way, wear our hair a certain way, and there's only one way to look professional, and that way of looking professional isn't native to us. It becomes that ability to, as Dr. G says, I reject all of that. And in that rejection comes freedom, because it builds tolerance to the fact that I myself, as a Black woman, am built outside of what's deemed perfect.
yeah.
So why would I trap myself into contorting to try to be perfect
Mm-hmm.
and put myself in a standard that I was never built for?
Mm,
So that's just what comes to mind when dealing with the anxiety of perfectionism and being high achieving. Whether, because I understand that I'm leaning to God's will and God's understanding, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to turn out well, whether it's my definition of success or not. And
mm.
sometimes that's where the misalignment is, what we deem successful and what God deems successful.
It's not the same.
It's
It's not.
not the same.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, that's what I was thinking about when you said the gift of failure. Um, I don't even know that God would call it failure, right?
Mhm.
We call
We
it
do.
failure, right? It's us. But if He ordained it, it is so. And what did He say? Like His word won't return to Him void. Anything that He puts out there is going to meet what it's supposed to meet. The
Mm-hmm.
issue be us, y'all. Well, let me speak for me. It be me. The issue be me. Okay. Right here. Yes. Right. Look, everybody say yes, like two hands, right? Because I, like you said, what I think success looks like as a high achieving person. And what he says, sometimes it match, a lot of times it does not. It does not. And I thank God for grace that He allows me sometimes kicking and screaming, right? To come aboard His plan. right? And figure out that it actually is his plan and it actually has nothing to do with how I see it or how I want it or what's going to make me comfortable or what's going to make me feel successful, right? It's about his plan. And I'm happy to be in that place. Now I hadn't always been there, right? Yeah. And so I think to connect that high achieving with the stress, again, for me, this my story. A lot of times the stress of being high achieving has been how I saw stuff, right? How I wanted stuff to go. And so it was me. It was me. Because you can be high achieving and love it, right? Aren't we there in some ways right now? All three of us? Absolutely, right? You can do it with ease, as Dr. G would say. It was me that was causing the friction before. And so I thank God for being in a different place. Y'all, I see our brother Hilton is on. Hey,
Hey
Dr. Bro.
now.
Yes. Yes. So Miss Keisha, you want to add anything to that piece?
Well, I would just say what I have come to learn in the um, transformation that's taking place in the transition that I'm in right now is that my will has to be more leaning towards the things of God than it is about what I want.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying? Um, because I only know so much. And even the stuff that I read in a book, it would only give me this much information. I need to learn how to bend my wheel so that I am in alignment with what He wants.
Yeah.
And the more I die to me, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I get more of Him.
Mm.
But that comes from what? Cutting and climbing. You got to cut and climb. You
Woo.
got to cut and climb. You got to cut and climb. And as you cutting and climbing, you're going to burn. Burn up that stuff
Mhm.
that tries to keep us attached to what we think we want.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
it go. Let it go. It don't belong to me anyway,
Come on.
right? Because, like Stacey said, what's for me is for me,
Mhm. Yes,
and can't
ma'am.
nobody take
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Because He reminds me in His Word, even when I'm going through stress, even when it seems like the weight of the world is sitting on my shoulder, He said, Keisha, what you bind
Mm.
on earth, what you bind is bound.
Mhm. Yeah.
What you loose is loose.
Mm.
Open your mouth, use your voice,
Come
and
on.
speak to the stress and tell it it got to
Mhm.
come into order. You got to come into alignment.
Mhm.
Ooh. Yeah,
You
the
see what I'm saying?
confirmation.
So, yeah.
The the confirmation. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. That was part of a theme throughout the conference this weekend. Open your mouth and speak. Open your mouth and speak. God has given us everything that we need. Everything that we need is on the inside of us. Open your mouth and speak. Right? Speak praises. Speak gratitude. If you need to advocate, if you need your circle, if you need community, if you need healing, open your mouth and speak. Right? Speak to that thing. Like Miss Keisha said, what's bound on earth is bound in heaven. And what's loose on earth is loose in heaven. Right? Open your mouth and speak. All right. So y'all listen. Um, we always say we're gonna do 30 minutes. We are at about
We're doing
45.
better because this is only
Right.
45, and last time
That's
we were at an
true.
hour five. So,
That's true. That's true.
improvement, growth.
But yeah, we are going to wrap up at this spot. But listen, y'all, if you want to talk more about the impact of stress, if you want to talk about realigning, if you want to talk about recognizing, if you want to talk about well, I call it correcting, but we have another R because we like alliteration. Okay. So, if you want to talk about all those things with us, we are doing a webinar on Wednesday of this week. Ladies, give me the time. 5:30 Central, right? 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. And so we will be in a format that's a little bit more intimate, a format where we will do some breakouts, where we will encourage participation, where we're going to talk about how is stress impacting us individually, but also collectively. And then, y'all, what are some actionable steps that you can take? What are some things that you can do? So you will leave the webinar with a plan that is tailored to you. Okay, because y'all, we believe in discussion, but we also believe in action. All right,
Absolutely.
so definitely some actionable steps. I'm gonna look for this link real quick, and I'm gonna drop it in the chat. Okay, and ladies, y'all, please add on whatever you want to add on about Wednesday. All right, and then we're gonna walk
Absolutely. And the name of the event, I think, really speaks to what we talked about today. It's When
in.
Excellence Exhausts.
Mm,
And I think a lot of us can be like, ooh, yeah, that hit. Because, for a lot of us, we can understand the roles that we hold. And we talked about being high achieving and having things, normally work out for us, but at what cost? And a lot of times there is a sacrifice for success. And the sacrifice comes in the ways of lack of sleep or lack of self-care, lack of of awareness to our own physical needs, because we're really busy taking care of everybody else. So this gives us an opportunity to really be aware, and like Dr. Cece said, to take some actionable steps, because awareness is just one part of it. I can be aware that my house is burning down. However, unless I get some water and a hose, the fire is going to consume what I have. It requires action. So we're going to, really go over that, and it'll be catered to what does that action look for you. So prepare to be, educated, empowered, and inspired to take action, to really move to a different place within your journey, in handling stress. Now, I will say it won't always change the situation, but sometimes you don't need the situations to change. You just need your outlook to change about the situation.
oh, yes. Oh, Miss Keisha, you there? Can you hear us? Um,
There we go.
Yes, I think I
there we go.
can. I think I got a bar left.
Woo!
Okay, so what I want to add to, oh, let me tell y'all, if I can just be honest, community, this is real life. This is like real time happening. When I say
Mm,
real time happening, this is real time happening. And when it's over,
Oh God.
all I can say, God has something huge for every last one of you. And so, those of you that are wanting to come, grab a friend, because sometimes our girlfriends be a little stressed out too, and they just don't recognize it,
mhm.
right? So grab a
Mm.
friend, click the link, sign up, and we'll see you on the inside of the group. Because we want to meet you, not just head to head, we want to meet you heart to heart, so that we can
Yeah.
get some solutions in place, some practical, applicable solutions, so that you will have tools to live a better, stress less life. Not
Come on.
stress, always stress free, but stress less.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Ladies, it is always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And so, y'all, again, drop the link in the chat. We're going to drop it on all of our pages. We're going to put out a flyer, probably tomorrow, because we also are mindful of our energy right now. We'll probably put out a flyer tomorrow. And y'all, we hope to see you in the room, okay? Because listen, our goal is for everybody to be happy, healthy, and whole. And so, like Miss Keisha said, we want to stress less. We're not going to be stress free because we, like Miss Keisha said in part one, we need some stress, right? Like stress keeps us upright, but we want to be stressed. We want to have less stress. All right. So, y'all, thank you for joining. Everybody that was viewing, I saw our numbers go up. Y'all, and I know her battery was going out. Oh, I see Dr. Andrea on. Hey.
Hey, Dr. A, how are you?
Yes, but you all, if you just jumped in, make sure that you catch the replay. Just go on back and watch it real quick, and try your best if you can to join us on Wednesday, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern, for our stress webinar. All right, y'all have a blessed night.
All right, take care.